See how many you got. 51. 51's not too many. That's solid. I did notice you had this one down here. Had you considered maybe using this as your first photo?
I had it as my first photo, and somebody else who helps people with their listings told
you not to. Interesting.
Photo, so I moved it. Yeah.
Do you remember the reasoning?
I think they said that it should just be a single image for your hero photo.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I had it up for like 2 days, and he said, move that. So I was like, okay, I'm just new, so I'm listening.
Sure.
Give me suggestions.
So anyways, on to Pricelabs. Tranquil, luxury, retreat, sleeps 8, 2 king beds, coffee bar, hot tub, fire pit. So, off the bat, I'm noticing some customizations that I do not necessarily agree with.
Okay.
The first one being last minute prices, a 5% premium within 1 day. Do you understand what this customization is doing?
Again, that was recommended by someone, but I'm open to changing. I think that adds 5% to the price if someone books within the day of when they arrive. Is that right?
Yeah. It's a strange theory. I haven't seen anybody use that. Normally, you would want to do the opposite. Normally, you would want to discount as you're approaching the dates to try to fill in any gaps, right?
Okay.
So
you're logged in as me, right? So if you are wanting to teach people about how to do this, you're welcome to change that if you want to.
Usually I prefer not to, but if you're giving me the okay, I don't mind doing that. So normally what I'll do is I will run a higher base price and have a very long discount curve. So sometimes depending on, I mean, this is a 4-bedroom in the Smokies, so booking window is probably going to be 35, 40 days on average. I would probably start that discount like 30 days out. And you're at $250 and you're dropping to $195. So in that scenario, I would be raising the base price, and then, you know, say it's $300 and you're going to $195. Well, that's like a 30% drop, right? So you can have like a 30% discount over 30 days. Would be like 1% per day.
Oh wow. Okay. So a lot of little discounts you're at.
Exactly. So that's kind of like the overall concept of how I run things is like, it's like a reverse auction, right? So the price is higher further out. Nobody thinks it's worth it. And then it drops little by little until somebody thinks it's worth it. And then they pull the trigger, right? Because you only got to get one. You only need one person to think it's worth that price.
Yep, for that particular date, yes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can do that here. And then after we change some of these customizations, you know, we can go back in and change the base price. So this is going to be a gradual discount, 30% over 30 days. And then to offset that, I'm going to raise your base price.
Okay.
But we'll do that at the end, right? Because there might be some other customizations that I'm going to go over. For one, men's day. So you have one night for all of these. Is that what you're looking to do? Are you looking to have a lot of one-night bookings?
No, I've never had a one-night booking, and I want to have 2-night bookings minimum.
Yeah. So in Smokies, I would definitely recommend at least a 2, and then pushing 2. So you have here like weekday 1, weekend 1 within 60 nights. So normally in the Smokies, I'll run like 2 weekday, 2 weekend, and then after like 3 weeks, about, depending on the size of the location and the amenities, I'll move it to 3. Right, and then I'll move it to 4 after maybe like 60 days. And normally I'm not pushing much further than 4 because, say that again?
So for 60 days out would be 4 days minimum, so you're getting those longer bookings further out.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah, I actually had it set that way about a month ago, and then I had a weeks without getting any bookings, like 3 weeks where I didn't get a single booking, and I thought, maybe I just need to lower it temporarily and see if that gets some traction.
So yeah, normally I would do like 2-2 here, and then I don't do the last minute, because to have default and last minute and far out, it's kind of redundant in my opinion, because you can just have your minimum as the default, and then you can start far out like 7 or 8 days later, right? Or 14 or 21 or whatever you want. So yeah, I would do 2-2, and then you can always, if you don't want me to do something, or if you want to come back and change it later, of course you have that option.
I'll know how to go in and check it.
I would probably say 4-bedroom in your location, maybe a little more than 21, maybe like 28. And then you can do 4 after like, probably like 60.
And for those who are watching either live or later, the replay, just so you know, the text is tiny, so people might not be able to see exactly.
Oh, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can zoom in.
I know what you're doing because I've been on that page, but can't. It looks fuzzy. That's a little helpful. Yeah, that helps a lot.
Cool. So now you're looking at, you got some 2s here instead of the 1s, and with that discount curve, it'll kind of help those prices drop down, and hopefully you can capture some of those 2-night bookings, instead of the 1s, right?
Yes.
$40. So right now, see, you're in these 4s in October, which is looking good, whereas before, they weren't, I don't think they were starting that early. I think it was a little further out.
When you just look at the calendar in October, can you tell that they're 4s? Is there something on there that's telling you it's a 4-night minimum?
Yeah, in the top left of each square, there's a little 4.
Oh, okay.
So it's the price on the bottom, and the min stays in the top left. And then if you hover over it, it'll tell you like, some other information.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did last minute prices. On the opposite end of that is far out prices. So generally, it's essentially the opposite, right? So the closer you get, it's in a discount until you hit your minimum or somebody books. And on the opposite end, usually I like to have, so it'll kind of like from today until whenever that discount curve ends on the last minute prices, it'll go up and then it'll kind of flatline. And then I like it to go up again. There's a number of reasons to do it, but it also acts as like, if you have to end up dropping your base price for the short term to like fill some dates, you don't risk accidentally pricing your holidays too low, if that makes sense.
Right, okay.
So there's kind of a number of ways to do this. You're probably fine sticking with the market-driven customization. So this is going to start after 60 days out. It's going to increase 20% over the next 140 days, which is like 4.5 months. And then it'll be at 20% after that.
Okay, good.
So it's just the opposite of the last minute, right? It's just the, as I had described. Pricelabs moving a little slow today.
Where are you located right now?
I'm in Orlando, Florida. So it's also about to rain here probably, because it does that every day.
Yes.
Orphans, I don't recommend doing Orphan Day discounts or premiums. occupancy based. I don't think you need this yet. What you need is bookings, right?
That's exactly right.
You don't need any of that. All right, back to essentials. Stay restrictions, orphan gaps. So you got 3, 2. So here's what I would recommend. So they have a setting here called length of gap. And what this is going to do is it's going to recognize that there's a gap, whether it's, in this case, 2 nights or 3 nights. I would probably run 2 to 4. And that's going to apply between 0 and 999 days. So the first one is like 0 is tomorrow, right? And then 999 is basically further than anybody's going to book out. And so what it's going to do is it's going to recognize that you have a gap between 2 and 4 nights, and it's going to change the minimum night stay to reflect the length of that gap.
Okay.
So you don't end up with like a 2-night gap that has a 3-night minimum.
Right, okay.
Does that make
That's
sense?
Great.
And so
Yeah, absolutely.
here's the tricky part about that is that you're running either 2 or 3 nights for, the next, 59 days. So they have a setting that will allow you to, how do I explain this? Right now, when Pricelabs adjusts the minimum night stay of a night, it can only adjust down. So if you're running 3 and you have a gap of 4, it's not going to raise it from 3 to 4. It's only going to lower it.
Okay.
However, they do have a setting that you have to email them and ask them to enable. I would definitely suggest that for you, for the Smokies. It just seems to be a pattern that has worked for me in the past. So what you need to do, I can send you a message about this, but you need to email Pricelabs, which is support@pricelabs.co, and you need to ask them to enable allow min stay increase onto your account.
Okay, and once they allow it, then what should I set that?
So what's going to happen then is there's going to be a little box that shows up here to the right, and so you're going to have to come back into customizations and just check that box. And the box will say like allow min stay increase ? And then you just click yes,
Okay,
like that.
great.
So that's going to solve your issue on gaps, which is going to be very important once you get to October and every day starts booking.
Okay. That's the hope. Every day we'll start looking.
Exactly. You'll get there, especially with the remodel. And I wouldn't, don't sleep on those photos. Get them scheduled ASAP, because some of these photographers might be full for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, And then on top of that, once they get the photos done, it might take them a week or 2 to get them edited and get them back to you. So it's not a quick process. And for you, since you do have a remodel that's almost complete, I might even suggest just hiring whichever photographer can get there quickest and get them turned around to you quickest.
Okay.
And then in the future, either the next slow season like February, or if you wait until like April or May, maybe you do them again,
Okay.
right?
Do you think so they would need to be updated? What's the reason to do them again?
Well, just if you're not, if you just picked somebody based on a time constraint instead of getting exactly what you wanted,
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right. Back to where we are now. Okay, so now you got the discount curve enabled, you got the far out prices enabled. I'm going to check your neighborhood data. I checked this before, and you were kind of, you were pretty low compared to the similar listings in your area. Did you use this screen ever?
I don't know even how, no. Talk to me like I'm new at this, because I am.
Sure. All right, so where I was the calendar. And then where I'm going now is neighborhood data, so that's in the middle. And what this is going to show in these different colored bands are the different percentiles of similar listings in your area for this selection. So the default here, if you can see this, is that Pricelabs will take your bedroom count and go one lower and one higher. So this is from 3 to 5 bedrooms. And you can change that. You can come in here and, make it only 4s. Or if you have a market dashboard, which is another Pricelabs product that we can talk about that another time if you want, but you can create your own comp sets and then integrate those into this chart, which can also be very helpful. So this black line down here, this is your price. And the gray band, which is slightly above your price, is the from 25th percentile to 50th percentile. So what this is showing me is that for 3 to 5 bedrooms in your area, you're below the 25th percentile, which is not ideal, but there's a number of things going on. You do need new photos. You just started the listing, etc. But we will get there. The middle band is from 50th to 75th percentile, and the pink one is from 75th to 90th percentile. And then if you ever see things over the pink band, then those are like the ballers, the top 10%, top 5%, etc. And here, this is an occupancy chart of the market. So this is going to be these same selections up here. And this red line is going to be the market occupancy for the date that's at the bottom, right? So you can see it's very full now, 80% this weekend. And then it slowly drops because fewer people have booked that far out, right? Now these tall gray lines are your bookings or blocks, because I did notice you had some blocks, all right? So you can see here, the market's only, 27, 39, 32% occupied for these dates, and you already have bookings there. So what that's telling me is that there's a chance that they were booked at too low of a price.
That's probably the case, yes.
Yeah, and I did look at them, and they were pretty low compared to what I would have expected, right? I think they're like 140 a night, which I'm going to assume that maybe those were like in the top 3 bookings and maybe got a 20% discount on Airbnb.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, well, that and VRBO. So between the two platforms, there was 6 of those super low discount bookings.
So they have this feature here. It's called Add Last Year Data, and so you can enable that, and you can see this top gray line is where the market finished last year. So if you look at these, like any specific date, you can tell the difference from the red to the dotted gray of where the market is versus where it finished last year. So you can see how much room there is to grow on those specific dates. It's just, it's a nice little interesting way to look at market data.
That is interesting. Looks like it's a lot worse this year than last year.
No, so if you look at this gray line, which is where, kind of behind the red line, they're kind of very similar. So the gray line is where the market occupancy was a year ago today for the dates in question. So it's looking like it's exactly the same, right?
Oh, I was looking at the upper gray line.
So the upper gray line is where the occupancy finished.
Got it.
And so this is saying on August 1st, last year, on August 1st, the area was 80% occupied. But today, July 17th, it was only 61% occupied. So it gained another 19% between today and August 1st of last year. So it's encouraging, right? Because you can look at it and think, oh, there's, it's still filling up.
Still time. Yeah.
Exactly. So next week, you might be a little late for next weekend. You might have to drop your price heavily to fill this because it seems like we're lagging a little bit behind where we were last year. And last year at this point was essentially almost full. And here's another thing you might enjoy. So the competitor calendar, this is going to select the same number of bedrooms as the selection above. So if you have the selection above set to only 4, then it's going to show you 4s. But since it's set to 3 to 5, it's going to show you 3s, 4s, and 5s. And these are going to be just your closest neighbors.
That Enchanted Forest is next door.
Exactly. It's here you can see 0.07 kilometers away, which is like literally next door, right? So this one views
Yep.
Fire Pit Theater, probably very close as well. And what you can do is you can select these, and I'll just select your neighbor for you, just for the sake of the argument. And what it's going to do is it's going to show you all of their prices. So you can see what your neighbor's priced at and compare it to what you're priced at, right? So if you have, if you find very specific competitors that you have very similar homes, very similar amenities, et cetera, you can come look at their prices and then compare them to your prices and see, oh, maybe I can charge a little more because they're full and they were charging more. Or the opposite, you can say, oh, well, they're priced way under me, so why would anybody choose me? They're going to choose them.
Right, okay.
So you can select up to 10 here, and you can either do your closest ones, or they have this button right here, Add Competitor, where you can actually go into Airbnb and copy the link to whatever listing and then add it here, which is super cool, because then it doesn't have to be like right next to you. What's that?
Will it save those for future? Like,
Yes.
do I have to keep adding them when I want to compare them? Or will
No. Whichever ones you choose will stay there until you choose something else. So you can either view that in table form, or you can view it in graphical form, which is cool. So it's kind of like this one up here, except it's just really granular and looking at the specific listings that you chose. So you can see this blue one is Enchanted Forest is blue and you're black. So they're priced a little higher than you, right?
Yes.
I don't know anything about that listing. It could be totally different. But, as an example, that's how it works.
Right, okay.
So anyways, normally I don't like to see prices this low. However, that being said, according to these occupancy bubbles, you are underbooked compared to the market over the next 30 days. The market's at 51% and you're at 40%. So that would tell me that you're overpriced within 30 days. However,
And the price, it's been frustrating because I keep dropping the prices and adding discounts and still not getting bookings. And I know it's because I'm new, I don't have a lot of reviews. It was a very outdated, rustic, bear-heavy cabin when we bought it, and we've been, updating the linens and the amenities and the decorations, every time we come. So I know that'll help, but we've been working on that slowly.
well, the other thing that will help is that we have introduced the last minute pricing discounts, because most people are doing that. So the fact that you weren't is not helping.
Yeah, I had the opposite. I had an increase.
Yeah. But now you should be more in line going forward with this 30-day occupancy. The 60 you're right on. 35, the market's 36. I like to go out a little further. Can do the next 90
Okay.
if it'll update. The reason I use 90 is because, think of it this way. Over the next 30 days, the market's only 51%. Ideally, I want to be close to 100% over the next 30 days.
Right.
So if I'm comparing myself to the market over 30 and I'm close to being completely full over 30 and the market's only at 50, I'm going to be way higher. But that's also going to skew my 60-day data. So I try to look at this 90-day data and be kind of right on there, which is where you are.
Great. That's encouraging. Yeah.
However, I think it's because of those 2 lower priced bookings in September at $140 a night, right? So we still need to work on the next 30 days. And I think this discount curve is going to help.
Great.
I would have expected it to go lower.
Well, and then on Airbnb, I have a discount on top of this discount.
Like length of
So,
stay?
Well, yes, I have a discount for 7 days out and then also 30 days, although no one will book 30 days. But a last minute discount on there, and then, or no, actually a date select, it's like specific to certain dates. Like I was able to pick the next 14 days and add a discount. But on Airbnb, it doesn't discount your Pricelabs pricing. It discounts like the average of the last 60 days pricing. So then it really lowers the pricing a lot, because it's basing it on what your average was, not on what Pricelabs says it should be.
Yeah, well, it's going to lower the specific day that it has programmed, no? So like Pricelabs is pushing it to Hospitable is pushing it to Airbnb. So Airbnb is looking at this 289 and then taking whatever percentage off of the 289.
Well, I thought that's how it works, but from what I understand and what's like I'm seeing on my calendar and what I researched is it doesn't take it off the 289. It doesn't want people to like jack up their prices and then add a discount. So it takes it off of a average of the last, I think it's 60 days or something like that.
It's interesting.
So,
I haven't heard that, but I don't doubt it.
yeah. So what is that date that you're seeing is the 289? It's fuzzy on my screen.
Oh, it's July 25th.
July 25th. I think it might have been moving the discount for that one, but yeah, let me look and see how it's showing up.
I'll try to zoom in a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, one moment. Somebody asked, how can I configure last minute discount pricing? And the answer is, in your customizations, you click edit. Or if you're a more advanced user, you can also do this at the account level or the group level or the subgroup level. And it's going to be in smart presets. And it's the first one, last minute prices. Were you looking on Airbnb to see what it had for the 25th?
Yeah. What it had. Uh-huh.
It's going to have a 2-night, so that'll be 289 and 292. So it's about a 290, 291 average.
Yeah, it has it at July 25th right now. It has it as 298. It says it was 351, and then it's 298 with the custom promotion. So I had 15% off for that date. So it didn't take 15% off of 351.
Do you have a channel markup enabled on Hospitable?
I don't think, I'll check, but I don't think I've ever done any pricing there. I've done
Sometimes by default, I've never used Hospitable, but sometimes by default, the property management softwares will add like a 13% or a 8% channel markup to Airbnb or to Vrbo or whatever.
Yeah, I'll look and see.
Yeah. Because if it's 289 here, well, I guess, the other thing is that I haven't synced it after I've tried it. So now that I sync it, maybe we look again and maybe it'll look better for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyways, I know I told you 30 minutes. It's been 31 minutes.
I'm
Has this been helpful for you? Is this a good start?
Absolutely, super helpful, because I've been drinking from a fire hose since March when we bought this cabin, and learning all of the things. And I got the basics. I got a gist. I'm using Pricelabs, but I knew I wasn't using it as effectively as I could be. So this helps so much. I feel like you've given me the tools where I can go in and understand a lot more of what's there and adjust things way better now. So thank you so much.
Yeah, not a problem. Definitely. Feel free to reach back out. I think I added you as a friend on Facebook.
Oh, great.
Yeah, just reach back out in a week or two, and hopefully this is going to be good for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, not a problem. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, I just sent somebody else a link to join as a guest. Somebody asked, is this property Is this a property that is managed by a PM or self-managed? Yeah, she's self-managed. Thanks, curious about the person who was just on as well. Yeah, she's self-managed. All right, I sent a link to Melanie, but if she doesn't click it, I can go to her Pricelabs anyway. So we've got the Hillbilly Hideaway using OwnerRez. I won't be able to see the listing because if I click on OwnerRez, it's going to try to log me into Melanie's OwnerRez, and I don't have that login information, nor do I really want it. Three-bedroom in Sevierville. Melanie, I'm gonna change some of these. I'm gonna look at the market penetration index because you seem to be very full. I'll try to remember to change those back afterwards. And also Jantosh and Oberhaus Chalet. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. All right, 1.9 MPI over 90, 1.5 MPI over 60. If you guys don't know what MPI is, it's the market penetration index. So what this is doing is it's taking these two percentages. So it's got the market percentage at 55 and it's got your listing percentage 87, and it's essentially doing 87 over 55, right? So in that scenario, it's going to be like, I don't know, about the same, like 1.5 or 1.6. Yeah, 1.6 over 30, 1.5 over 60, 1.9 over 90. I'm gonna say right now, you could be fine with that. It depends on your risk tolerance. I think you're a little underpriced. I think you could be charging more. If you stopped here, if these bookings were like your furthest out bookings, I would say that you're fine, but you already have all these September bookings. And they seem to all be at your minimum or below the minimum. So you get the minimum is 197. You're getting bookings here at 172. And you've already booked a lot of October. You booked a lot of these in February, May. These are really far out bookings, and in Sevierville, you don't really need to book that far out. So what I'm doing, if you guys don't know this, so you got upcoming bookings here. These are these green little slashes, and then the blue ones are last year's bookings. So generally what we like to see is the greens being over the blues, right? So that would be meaning that you were making more this year than you were last year. And I mean, we have that a little here. Some of these dates are a little lower, and you're hitting your minimum for a lot of dates. I really think you could be charging more here. Especially, you know, you're booked all the way here. Market's only at 14, 15%. If you're comfortable with that kind of risk tolerance, you know, if you're getting the prices you want to get, there's a number of right ways to do it. As long as you're, at the end of the day, you're getting what you want to get. But my professional opinion, I think you could be charging more. Akash, how can we go through my Pricelabs account? Akash, send me a DM on Facebook with your Pricelabs login and Pricelabs password. And then there's somebody else in front of you, and then I can do you after that. Trying to make this bigger. It's hard for me to tell what you guys are able to see, so let me know if it's too small. Jantosh, currently Pricelabs is linked to Airbnb and Vrbo. With Vrbo as child of Airbnb listing, should I change to link with Hospitable and then sync price to channels through Hospitable? So you're saying, I think you're saying you have it mapped on Pricelabs. If you did it through Hospitable would be controlling any channel markups. However, it's a little cheaper. You'd save like $5 a month by not having to map. $1,344,275, $5,360. Melanie, it'd be very rare for somebody to be booking a cabin, a 3-bedroom cabin in Sevierville a year in advance. And if they are, it would go back to my original theory that you can probably raise your price. $15% discount for the gaps between 1 and 2. I think you can get rid of that. You get a lot of 2-night bookings in the Smokies. So I would see no need to discount them. If you were here, I could ask you, some other questions. It's hard to tell, what level of Pricelabs user you guys are without being able to talk to you. So there's definitely some more advanced features that I might recommend, but I'm not sure I want to get into them right now when I have other people waiting. But if you want to know more, definitely send me another DM. All right, I'm gonna log out of hers, and then I got Anna next, and then Akash if he'll send me a DM. Okay, Anna. New listing, location, amazing view, beautiful cabin. Did she send me a link? No. Also, okay, Anna, you got a parent, child, child. So I'm going to assume these are inactive because you have them turned off, and this one's never had a booking. So we're going with this one, new listing, location, amazing view, beautiful cabin, 3-bedroom in Gatlinburg. Where in Gatlinburg? This sounds like Pittman Center, I guess, a little closer. Good location. Hey, Anna.
Hi, Rob.
Is it Anna or Anna?
It's Anna, but...
Anna, I apologize.
No worries.
Yeah, so I just pulled your listing up. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if you're watching the stream or not.
Let me open it up.
Oh, you don't have to. Don't do that because it's delayed and you'll get an echo. So I can switch to this. Hang on. This, all right. Is it Anna? Can you see this now?
Yes, I can see this.
Okay, cool. Do you want to send me a link to your listing? Or if you want to just tell me about it, that's fine too.
Yeah, it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath with the view in Gatlinburg.
Okay, what other amenities do you have?
Standard game room, hot tub.
Do you have a theater?
That's no, not really. I have a separate room with a couch and TV.
Mm-hmm. I don't need to see it. Sometimes it's just better to give context to both me and the other viewers, right? So I'm going to tell you probably the same thing that I told the last person whose listing I was looking at, is that I think based on this is just initial impression, I haven't looked at your calendar or anything.
Sure.
Just looking at these occupancy bubbles, you can probably charge more.
Okay, I am in, so I've been doing this only have one listing, been doing this for 2.5 years now, and I'm in top 5.
Nice. Top 5 revenue?
Airbnb.
Oh, top 5 like,
5% of homes.
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
Airbnb. Whatever
That's nice.
top 5 means, but, and the listing has over 100 all 5-star reviews.
That's very nice. Congratulations.
So thank you so much. So that could be possibly, I'm thinking that, because I don't mess with Pricelabs, to be honest with you, that's why I get so excited, but I don't, I think it's just the cabin itself, the views, we keep it super clean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's spacious, has enough room for all the guests, and generally, has really good
How many do you sleep?
impression. It sleeps 10.
Okay. Yeah, so if you're, I don't know how familiar you are with Pricelabs, but, just checking out these occupancy bubbles, right?
Yeah.
The market is 49% occupied over the next 30 days, whereas you are 90% occupied. That, I don't think that's bad because I like to be very full for the next month in the Smokies as well. But once you get to 60 and 90, and especially even 120, over the next 4 months, you're twice as occupied as the market, which, I was saying this in the last one, if you're getting the prices that you want to get, then sure, do your thing. But that being said, I think you have the option if you wanted to, where you could probably charge more. especially now that I'm seeing that you have like, empty weekdays here. I'm going to assume you have weekends booked pretty far out. Not really, actually. Do you tend to do a lot of these manual overrides often? I mean, I see them everywhere, but I don't know if, maybe you just did it once, or if you're in here doing it often, or. I think I lost Anna. She said she can't hear me. She will try to reconnect. Hello.
Hi.
She's back. I don't know what the last thing that you heard was before you got off.
Oh, it was about the occupancy. You were saying that the occupancy towards 50%, I think, like over 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
You were thinking that maybe that's related to not having, high enough prices.
Yeah, looking at your calendar, I'm starting to rethink that, because these are pretty good prices for October, even though you're not booked yet. I'm not saying that you won't book at these prices, but the fact that you're filled for just September and really not October at all is not a bad sign at all. 344, 285. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely reconsidering what I told you, because for a 3-bedroom with no pool, these are not bad prices.
Yeah.
I'll look at your customizations here. 2, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Within 7, 3, 3 beyond 45. So it's 2, 3 between 7 and 45. Got it. 3, 4 beyond 160. 30% discount over 15, 20% discount applied. January, March, April, May, August, September, October to December.
I usually mess with this, like when that season comes, I start like messing in here with whatever those prices are. Because if I see it doesn't get booked, I usually would put the minimum price a little down so that it kind of refreshes the calendar for that season.
Right. Are you doing that all? You're doing that all manually here with these?
Yeah.
Yeah. How often are you doing this?
I used to do it more often than now. Now, you see. Now I probably do it once every 2 months, 3 months.
Okay. I mean, that's not bad. That's not a lot of time. It strikes me as a little odd that you have the 17 for the whole time, whereas you have on the custom seasonal profile, you have these things set, but then you go in and lower it, right? Whereas you could just probably lower it in these to begin with, and then you wouldn't have to continue to do those manual adjustments, right?
I think the reason I'm doing the manual adjustments, well, yeah, I guess. Oh, I'll tell you why I'm doing the manual adjustments. There was a period of time, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, where I would regularly log in and I would make those manual adjustments, because I read somewhere on the forum that was basically, they were saying, increase it by 10%, whatever is your default pricing, and then drop it, from 10% to 5% to 0, back to 0 to -5, -10. So every 2 days or so that the price is kind of fluctuating, that helps, with bookings. And I think it helped, or whenever I go in and I either, go up by 5% or go down by 5%, whatever that, the number is, it was helping. In my case, probably within 2 days or something, I would get 1, 2, 3 new bookings. But I've been a little lazy. But that's the reason for that manual thing, is just that when you show kind of oh, your price has been for several days X, and now boom, it's X minus 5% or X plus 10%. At least that's what I was told, that it may help
Right.
get booked. So that's my manual, kind of for messing around and with the prices overall. So I kind of put them in groups, from this date to this date, and then each group I adjust differently. So let's say one group will go up by 5%, another group will go down by 10%. So that, like, from Airbnb or Airbnb perspective, it's not like suddenly the whole calendar went up by 5%,
Right.
So they all like fluctuate differently.
Interesting.
Not sure if that makes sense or if it's worth doing, but it was working for me. But I stopped right now because I think what helps me the most are the reviews, probably, being in the top 5% for Airbnb, but I mostly get Airbnb bookings, like 99%.
Me too. I mean, if you have 100 reviews and it's 5.0, that's not an easy feat. That's very, very difficult to do, especially in the Smokies. So yeah, I mean, there's probably not that many that have that many reviews with that average, right? But I mean, I'm looking at your revenue here. You got some months that are 10K, 12K, 12K. With the exception of April, I guess January, February, and April, all your reds are either equal to or greater than last year's, which, this year, really not seeing that often. Normally it's kind of around the same, if not a little less. Do you do any market dashboards?
No.
Okay.
I usually come in and just like do that seasonal pricing and then just those manual groups of prices that I adjust up and down. That's pretty much the extent of what I do. Most of these features were around 2.5 years, when I started, and I kind of did a lot of learning of Pricelabs. And I kind of did not keep up with the progress, I should say. It's my bad. Sure.
Well, I mean, you seem to be doing great. Have you considered in your high season 3 seasonal profile, which starts October 1st and ends December 31st? So when I think October, November, December, October is obviously a great month. And then there's usually like a lull of like those middle 2 weeks in November, like the 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. And then it happens again like in December, like the first, basically all of December, in anything between Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? So I don't know if you would maybe, I don't know how to put this, maybe have something that would maybe take those weeks down a little, unless you wanted to continue to do it manually, right?
Yeah, that's what I usually, for those weeks specifically, first 2 weeks in November, first 2 weeks in December, I would go in and here, and then I would just manually lower the price on the calendar.
Gotcha. And I'm going to assume you do the opposite for Labor Day, because you have Labor Day in your low season.
Yeah.
It's crazy that there's so many ways to do revenue management correctly, right? Like there's definitely wrong ways to do it, but there's so many right ways to do it as well. That it's like, at the end of the day, as long as you're getting the numbers that you want to get, there you go. Do you have any specific questions for me?
No, I was just hoping that maybe there are certain things I can tweak or, but it looks like you said the pricing looks right.
Yeah.
Just 2 days ago.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just 2 days ago, I got my first January booking, which I usually don't get booked out. I was like, oh my God. But it was January 1st through 5th, I think, or something. I got a booking. And I'm like, I'm not sure this was not low. It was, I think, 300 something average, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
but
312.
my January and February last 2 years have been great. They were booked pretty solid, I would say, maybe like 70%, 80% occupancy in January and maybe 60, 65 in February, which is pretty good for those months.
Absolutely. Well, now that Ober's been redone, have you been to the new Ober?
No.
So they've redone it in the last year or so. And they've kind of like revamped the whole inside. Actually, it's probably longer than a year. It was probably 2 years ago. But yeah, I think more people. I kind of felt the same thing. I felt like last January was like better than previous Januaries. So what else would it have to do with? Like that's the only like winter thing you can do in the area, right? So maybe that's helping us out.
I think so. Yeah, they have the snow tubing and the fake snow and all of those things. So
Yeah.
might be helping for sure.
Well,
Yeah,
I hope
was just,
this.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I hope this has been helpful for you. But that is really, the only thing that I could say that you could do that you're not doing is maybe just raise your price a little bit, even if it's just 5%. Just see what happens. You can always go back and change it if I'm wrong. But you seem to be consistently booked more than everybody else, so give it a shot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I'm willing to try to do a little experiment. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you ever have any additional questions, just shoot me a DM or something.
Okay, will do. Thanks,
Cool.
Rob.
See ya.
I appreciate your help. See you. Bye.
All right. Next, we got Akash, my man. Akash, I'm going to send you a link so you can join via video if you want. What's going on? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Do you want to, I can't remember, have you sent me a link to your listing before?
Yeah, I did. We did talk about it a little bit, and you mentioned it's been good, but I just want to be a little go through the prices and
I'm having some trouble hearing you, I'm sorry. The volume is a little low. I've turned my volume up higher. Hopefully that'll help.
I think I have to make a live YouTube session because it was creating an echo for me.
Yeah, definitely turn off the YouTube, or at least mute it. It'll probably help your bandwidth as well or whatever. I guess I could probably just click here and get it, right? Let's see here. I'll pull your screen up. Let's see if I can open this. Nice. 506 reviews, good job. Good photos. Is this a new cabin for you? Yeah, 16 reviews only.
Yeah, for us, like, started like in December.
In December.
But the whole area is like from 2019.
Yeah.
We recently started just when the months we are here and Airbnb this.
Are you getting a lot of Verbo traffic, or is there a specific reason why it's only got 16 reviews if you started in December?
In fact, like zero booking from Verbo. I don't know what's going on with Verbo. And we had like some bookings from maybe bookings and like very few from night. Just two of them from night bookings.
Yeah, it looks like you're,
the booking did not need any reviews. They did not like I tried to just follow once. But in case of Airbnb, I think yeah, like I guess only a couple of them did not leave a review. Otherwise, like yeah, even if they would have, like they could have given 18 reviews.
gotcha. You got the MPIs, nice. So 60,
Yeah, after I talked to you, I added those parameters there.
yeah. I love the MPI, especially because for me, I'm dealing with so many different markets. I have like 80 listings on Pricelabs, so it's like it's sometimes 27 is good and sometimes 27 is bad. So for sorting purposes, it's like I got to do it by MPI. Oberhaus Chalet says, love the pictures at Akash's cabin. Nice. Akash, do you know who took the photos here?
I think it was some like company like her photography HER.
Holly Reed. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's good.
Yeah, we just like requested our previous owner to share the photos and then we use the same photos that the
Right.
previous owner had.
I do that too. Saves money. So you don't have any, it looks like you don't have any minimum stay requirements set. Are you doing that on purpose, or are you doing that through Airbnb? Or how does that work?
So from Airbnb and Airbnb, we have set it to like minimum 2 nights. But yes, we have not set it up in Pricelabs. But we do have the 2 nights minimum stay constraint.
Okay, you do it on the platform level, or on the PMS level. So you can, if you wanted to do it on here, then if you ever wanted to make adjustments, you'd only have to do it once, and you wouldn't have to do it on Airbnb and on Vrbo. Or if you're ever, I know you're trying to like add more listings, right?
No, so for now we are just focusing on this just one listing.
Okay.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm not sure like if pricing is not correct or whatever because we haven't got any booking from after 10th of August. So after 10th of August, it's all in. So that's why I was wondering. But I did compare like the pricing of other cabins in my neighborhood. So I think according to the price wise, I'm okay. Like I'm like charging the similar money or like even a couple of bucks lesser than those listings. So yeah, not sure like if it's the pricing or if it's just the market. And because this is the first year, so I'm not sure like what's the booking window for guests usually after August, like how advanced like they start booking in the future, like in November, December.
Yeah.
Even the fall booking.
I would not worry about that right now, because that's 3 weeks out, so you're looking at 21, 24 days. If you wanted to drop your base price 5% to like 280, you might be able to fill that until the 17th, and you'd be about 30 days out. Maybe not. To me, I wouldn't really worry about it. I think I don't look at this as unhealthily unoccupied. Like this to me doesn't set off any red flags, right? If you wanted to fill all this, you could immediately by just putting 10% discount, right? If you wanted to. But why would you do that when you can possibly get 10% more?
Exactly.
That's how I look at it. And you have, so the discount starts 24 days out and it goes down about almost 2% per day. So, 5 days from now, these are going to be 10% less than they are anyway. So are these. I really wouldn't worry about it. That being said, sorry, go ahead.
For those customizations, like for now, we are just using the default settings in Pricelabs because I did not want to mess up with how should I choose like the discounts as we move toward the dates which are unoccupied. So
Yeah.
just like going by the price tag customization.
If you ever get worried about specific dates, you can always come in and do a manual discount. To me, I never have a problem with dates that are open because you can always lower the price. Normally it's when people are too full that worries me, because if you have a day that's overpriced and nobody's booking it, you can always lower it and fill it. But if you have a date that's underpriced and somebody books it, you can't get that back.
Yeah.
You know, it's gone, it's bought. So that being said, I mean, I don't see any cause for concern here. If you wanted to lower your base price a little, you might be able to fill some of these, you know, make it a little more full. It just depends on your personal risk tolerance. Some of mine, I'll let them go where it's only fill for the next 10, 11, 12 days. And it doesn't really bother me, especially when it's busy. Like, if it were mid-September, I don't know, maybe I would try to get it a little more. But if you're like mid-July, those dates are going to book anyway, right? That's how I look at it. Because normally it's like, if people are booking you, this was my initial thought with the last person, Anna, is that if people are booking you before they're booking other people, it's usually because you're cheaper than they are. In her case, that wasn't the case because she has, you know, phenomenal reviews, etc. But so I never really want to be the first one booked, you know. That's just kind of like my personal theory. Yeah, but that has been a better strategy in 2020, 2021, 2022 than it is now. Now it's you know, starting to turn around a little. But back then, you know, you could hold out to be the absolute last, and you could still charge whatever you wanted. But anyways, back to your minimums here. So presumably this has a 2-night minimum, right, on the platforms?
Yeah.
Even though you have a 3-day gap. So you're probably going to end up with one of these not getting booked. So it'll be 300, 300, 0 instead of 300, 300, 300. So what I would do in these situations is I would try to force the guests to do 3. So I would probably set these as a 3-night minimum and then drop the price a little bit, because as long as you don't drop it more than 33%, you're coming out ahead.
Yeah.
You know, unless you can book the 2 and then you can reach out to that person and say, oh, do you want to add this 3rd night at a discount? Or you can reach out to the person before and ask them if they want to extend a day, stuff like that, right? Do you have any do you have aspirations to move to any particular property management software, or you just stick with the platforms?
So for now, we are just like self-managing. Like the guest, we are using Guesty for hosts.
Oh, you are using Guesty for hosts. Oh,
Yeah. But we have not connected Guesty for host here because I think that does not come up in the list here. Like if you try to find, connect under PMS, you don't get Guesty here. I don't know what's the reason. But
right here. It used to be called Your Porter, and then Guesty bought Your Porter, and so they just leave it. You know, it's Guesty for hosts parentheses Your Porter. But you should be able to. And then, there's instructions here how to connect to Guesty for hosts. And it's you seem like a smart guy, so you could probably figure it out. But it'll give you directions on how to get this auth token. And then you enter it here, and it'll connect there.
Yeah.
Are you doing, I'm going to assume the answer is no. Are you doing the direct integration with Verbo? Do you know how that works?
direct integration,
So direct integration with Verbo essentially would be, I'm pretty sure Guesty for Hosts does this, where instead of the guest paying Verbo and then Verbo paying you, you have to set up a Stripe account and then integrate it with Guesty for Hosts, and then Guesty for Hosts will push that to Verbo, so the guest pays you directly.
Yeah. I guess that's how we have set it up for Booking.com.
Okay.
But I think the same setup is for VRBO. So we do have the Stripe account set up with Guesty for Hosts.
Okay. So if you do connect this to Guesty for Host, this is going to change how this works.
Okay.
So you're going to go from having a mapped listing to just having one Guesty for Host listing. So
I would have to remove the Airbnb and VRBO.
yes, and then it'll actually save you $5 a month, I think, because you pay. Don't you pay instead of paying the full 20 and 20, you paid 20 and then 5 for the mapping or something like that?
No, I believe it's I'm just paying for one because here VRBO it's not considered as the second connection
Right.
because it's the member of the parent and child.
Right,
So
right,
I
right.
believe it's just I'm paying for one.
Okay. I couldn't remember if they charge for mapping or not. I think they used to. Um,
Yeah, I was
But
just
yeah.
a play around playing around with my owner's account because I just use it for the trial period and connected owners here and they charged me like for two listing. I was like, what? Like I did not sign up for the two listing, and then I realized okay, like just because you don't have the parent child mapping, so they consider it as like two different listings and they charge you for two listings. So, but I get your point. Like just connect SFR host and then delete the Airbnb and VRBO from there, so it will be just like one listing.
nice.
But I
Um,
think would it make any difference just connecting ST here and not Airbnb here? Other than just like some little bit manual effort of setting up the price.
would it make any practical difference? For me, I don't. I prefer to do it through the PMS than doing it the way you have set up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of any practical advantages other than the fact that there would only be one here instead of two. But they're already working together anyway. I don't know. For me, I prefer the simplicity. But you can also hide this somewhere. You can click here, hide child listings, and so it's only going to show you the Airbnb listing. So I guess that kind of accomplishes the same goal. I like using the property management software as the hub, right? And then I make a change there, and it just changes everything. So that's kind of like what I default to. But with one listing, you kind of do whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. Do you have any other? Sorry.
Showing and hiding the listing like in the previous page, you hit that we are like how do we hide or show any child listing?
So there's row, column, visibility, and then hide child listings.
So yeah, so you think like my pricing is set up correctly, like or like in the best, not best, it's still in a good manner.
I don't think it's incorrect. You might want to lower it, maybe 5%. Just, because you're clearly a little hesitant about the fact that you're not booked for that additional week, right? Or maybe a little more. You can try lowering it by 5, or you can do a manual lowering, like a manual 5% discount, and then you're not affecting the further out dates, Because right now this is kind of when people stop traveling, right? It's like this last week of August, and then you get kids are starting to go back to school. Then you get Labor Day, and then after Labor Day, there's nobody traveling in September ever, until they get to fall break, and then they go back into October, and they want to see the leaves changing, and then we'll be ripping again. So if you wanted to be booked a little further out than you are, I would probably just suggest a manual discount, but definitely don't do it for Labor Day.
Okay.
Jantosh, yes, you're next. Akash, do you have any other questions for me?
No, I guess I'm good. Thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate all your advice here.
Yeah, no problem. And, in the future, if you ever want to reach out, go for it.
Definitely. Yeah, we are connected on Facebook. You sent me the friend request.
Right. Yeah, cool. All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right, Jantosh. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's going to take me a second to log in. Jantosh, I'm sending you a link to join by video if you want to. So this is Jantosh's listing. I don't know if he's going to pop on or not. If you're listening, Jantosh, I sent you a message on Facebook with a link to join. But only if you want to. Oh, love the white linens. I'm tired of the bears. Oh, but then you got a bear there.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Jantosh, how you doing?
Good. Thank you.
I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
You are.
Wonderful. How you doing? New listing, no reviews.
Just a little bit about the history of this. So this is currently managed by a property management company. Yes, you are.
I think you might be listening to me
very good, thank you.
delayed. You should close the YouTube stream and just look at the stream on the invite that I sent you. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Give me a second. Okay. What about now?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so thanks for your time. So a little bit of background. Currently, this is managed by my property management company. I'm taking it over self-managing it starting from next week. So my property management company is firing them because I also have a booking and I had a contract. So finishing that on 26th. So I've already put a listing. As per the contract, they cannot transfer their listing to me. So I created my whole new listing and started taking the booking. So I just want to give you a context a little bit that that is the situation currently.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like to take other people's bookings because you don't know who they booked, right? I like to know who's booking my houses. You don't want some random person showing up, you know.
Right, and that's why I do not have any review because it's a brand new listing.
Sure. And it's available starting August 1st?
Yes, starting from
Okay.
Actually,
And then
starting from Monday 29th is
Okay.
we already have a booking for that.
Gotcha. Are these other bookings here, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14?
Yes, all these are booked. As
Gotcha.
Airbnb
Okay, so you're already getting
and
bookings.
Airbnb.
Sure. You got the pool. Got the living room, got the dining room. How many people does this sleep?
8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I like that you can, you see very often that you have these dining rooms that can't set the number of guests that you are accommodating. So they'll have a cabin that sleeps 8 and the dining room only sits 6, and it's like, well, where's everybody going to sit,
I
right?
know.
Yeah, I love the white linens. Got the hot tub, got the views. Little game room. Do you know who did your photographs?
I don't, because, property management, I just paid to the property management company and then they got it, so, but I paid for them, so I don't know who did that.
Okay. Yeah, at some point, I think I might recommend that you get them redone. It's not that they're bad. It's just that it doesn't. They don't seem like they were the actual like photographs. It seems like maybe they were taken off the internet or like screenshots type thing. Not that they're bad, but they're just you know what I mean. It's like the resolution almost. Yeah, the quality. There you go. That's the word I was looking for.
Understood.
So Pricelabs, you're clearly very new to this because you're still in the free trial.
Right. I'm a very good friend of Akash, so he helped me initially.
Oh, cool.
Set up. So
Cool.
we chat a lot about this, but he's helping me because I'm new, so he helped me initially that, and he told me, you are a good resource as well.
That's what they say. So your occupancy is quite similar to Akash's. What are these? Are these like dates where you're going to go? Or are they just...
No. They are booked.
Oh, they are booked. Okay. They're not showing as bookings. Are they off platform or something like that?
No, they are through Airbnb or VRBO only. I'm not sure why they are not showing booked here.
Did they book today?
No.
Oh, sometimes if you get a booking, like if you had a booking today, it would show as blocked, but it might not show the details such as like the price.
Okay. No, they booked actually. Last booking I received yesterday, but most of them are booked actually last week.
So you had the same issue as Akash, or you don't have the minimum nights set up. Do you do that through Airbnb?
I have no. I'm using a hospitable, so I have
Okay.
done that in hospitable.
Okay. But you don't have Hospitable linked to Pricelabs.
But I did. Yes. No, I have not. I have linked Airbnb and made a child VRBO.
Gotcha. And you already had the child listing hidden. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you're comfortable doing it that way through Hospitable, more power to you.
No, I hear you. I think it's a smart move, so probably I'll try to do that.
I would suggest custom Orphan Day prices. Pricelabs default 20% discount applied to gaps of 2 nights or less. I would suggest turning that off. We do get a lot of 2-day bookings in the Smokies, like here, for instance.
Yeah.
Pricelabs has attributed a 20% discount to these 2 dates. As you can see, I can't move my mouse over it because it'll disappear, but 1, 2, 3, 4, like the fourth or the third thing down, so the first seasonality, then demand factor, then it has Orphan Day price factor minus 20. So it's lowered the price on these by 20% because of this customization. In this scenario, that's not the worst thing because that's only 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now.
Right.
But if that were to happen, here in October, if somebody checks in on the 21st, well, then it's going to discount the 19th and 20th, and those are days that you don't want to discount.
Got it. So you're saying that it needs to be done, right?
So right now, it's the default is enabled, and the default is a 20% discount that's applied to gaps of 2 nights or less. So what you would need to do is enable it, and then change it to no orphan day adjustment.
Okay.
Do you want me to leave that?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Normally I don't do these live. Normally I do them on Loom videos. But so I don't like to make changes without confirming, right? But since you're on here and I can ask you, then I don't mind doing it.
Thank you.
Sometimes I over explain for other people who may be watching. Anna says, photos are not inviting, also better to take in the fall when leaves are changing. I think she's referring to the fact that some of your view photos, look, it's like the trees are dead, right? Wherever it went. I hate how Airbnb makes you do this by room.
Right.
Yeah, you got all the dead trees and stuff. But I did see you did have one fall photo here.
Yeah, that was.
But obviously they're like from far away. But yeah, I mean, if you are considering getting new photos, I mean that you got October coming up. The leaves are going to be beautiful. I usually wait. I'll do it like the first week of November, so that you're not really giving up any like super high priced nights to get photos taken, and you can kind of give up a lower price night. And there's also, oh man, what was this website called? Smoky Mountain leaves changing. They have this thing. What is it? Foliage map? No, not that one. They have these like predictions. I forget where it is, but there's one where it's got like a slider, and you can like slide the thing on the calendar like through the various weeks of fall, and it's gonna tell you like based on how September went, like where it thinks the leaves are gonna be changing in their peak. It's really cool, but I forget where it is. Maybe it was this one. Because you can use this, yeah, it is this one. So you can use it to determine a good time to get your photos done, right? So it's like
Got it.
October 16th there, October 23rd is going to be a little more, October 30th is going to be a little more, and you can kind of see in this East Tennessee area like when the peak is going to be. And this will change as things start to develop. It's pretty cool. This is just smokymountains.com/fall foliage map, something like that.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, super cool. But back to your listing, I mean, I think I have the same answer as Akash. Like, you're booked here about 33 days out with a couple of gaps, and those gaps will start to fill as this 40% discount that starts 17 days out will start to kick in. Then you'll start to, fill a lot of these gaps there. But other than that, I mean, I think your base price is probably fine. Let's see what it suggests.
Yeah.
This is just 233. That'll put you 50th percent. You're at 250, so a little higher than 50th percent. For you, I think photos would help. Sorry?
Do you suggest to reduce the base price?
No.
This is good.
I do not.
Okay.
Not for you. Not with this. Not with your calendar looking as it is. Because here it's saying, it's not even going to start discounting until 17 days out. So it's saying for a 2-bedroom in your area, where you were like a little east of Gatlinburg, right? Did I have that right? Oh no. Okay, so yeah. All right. That's a great area to be in. So it's saying for 2 bedrooms in that area, there's a lot of people booking within, or 3 weeks out, right? And so you're a little booked past that right now. So I definitely wouldn't suggest lowering it. You might be able to raise it if you wanted to. If you wanted to try with 5% raise, and see what happens. This is booked July 17th. That's today. 175, July 10th, July 12th. I think it's a really healthy booking pattern. How long has the listing been active?
A little over 10 days.
10 days. 12. It seems like a lot of these came in only in the last 5 days.
Yeah.
So you might be able to raise it. I mean, those would be good prices for a 2-bedroom. It's a nice place. I think, like I was saying, I think new photos would kind of take it to a next level.
Okay.
Anna says also there's no sunset or sunrise photo shoot. So, side note, what a lot of people do is they'll get regular photos taken and then do like a simulated twilight, where it's kind of like, edited, like a digital edit where you Photoshop the sunset in. I have heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I have heard that Airbnb is scanning photos for instances of simulated sunlight, simulated twilight, and somehow punishing those listings, dropping them in the rankings, etc., because they're deeming it that it's not an accurate representation of what the guest is actually going to experience. So Anna, I do agree with you. Sunset or sunrise photos are awesome, but make sure they're real. I have some simulated ones too, and I'm starting to regret that. I just heard that like 1 or 2 days ago though, so I don't know how accurate it is. It's just one of those things that goes around and you go, oh, it might make sense. It could be true. But who knows? So anyways, do you have any other...
What other settings should I do in a customization? Is there anything else I need to look at? Like one you told about turn on, what was that? I think you turned on one of the settings, right?
Well, we can go through all of them. So you got the minimum stay settings, which you said you were doing in hospitable.
Correct.
So that's where I would adjust orphan gaps and, far out bookings, last minute bookings, etc. There's some more advanced ones here that are kind of like next level. But since you're just starting out, I'm not sure I'd want to go over those with you right now because it might just be too much. Far out prices, it's enabled the Pricelabs default starting 60 days out, gradually increase 20% over the next 113 days, then a constant 20% after that. So it's essentially after, it's a gradual increase until 6 months, and then it's a 20% increase after that. Occupancy-based adjustments, I think you're fine with the default for now. There's a number of options in here. What this is, so how do I explain this? So these are the day ranges at the top. So from 0 to 15 days, and these are editable, right? From 16 to 30, from 31 to 60. And then on the left is the occupancy percentage. So anything that's under 10% within this date range, 0 to 15 days, Pricelabs is going to drop the price on that 15% to try to help you get it booked. And so this second row is between 10 and 20%. The third row is between 20 and 30%, etc. And you can change these numbers, and then you can change the different options they have. So that was the default. Aggressive is just a more aggressive discount if it's going to load. So it's 30 instead of 15. You can do a far out premium, which is 60% premium between 90 and 180 days, which is really high. There's a bunch of different ones here, or you can do a custom one. So I usually do a custom one where I have, it's similar to the aggressive discount, getting closer to check-in day, and further out, the way that I do it is if I start to get too booked too far out, I will have Pricelabs raise those prices for me, because what it's telling me is that I screwed up, I underpriced something, and now more people are starting to book that. And and so then Pricelabs will recognize that and it'll adjust the prices up for me. So Anna, that might be something that you're interested in too, since you get those further out bookings. So that was occupancy-based adjustments. Seasonal profile is so we kind of went over that a little bit. I think you've been watching the whole time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you saw all these where she had all the different. Yeah.
Based upon the profile, based upon the settings, and you can customize.
Yeah. Also, if you guys don't know, Pricelabs has phenomenal help page and training and pretty much anything. They have these little tips, and then they have these things that say learn more. And they always have very in-depth explanations of the way everything works. And on top of that, if you go to your initials in the top right, they have this training section where you can sign up for like webinars and stuff. They have them in a bunch of different languages. They have a great YouTube channel. I've learned a lot of stuff that way.
Nice.
Demand factor sensitivity. So this one's interesting. So if you go back to these dates and you hover over any random date, so see that first line, seasonality minus 16, demand factor minus 19. That tells you that it's a date that has a low demand, right? So they lower the price based on the fact that not that many people are booking that price around you, and so they lower yours to keep up with them. So the opposite would be these blue dates, which have higher demand. So this Mountain Music Festival has a 50% increase because of the demand factor of that date. So this setting, demand factor sensitivity, is dictating how those percentages are calculated. So right now you're on recommended, which is fine. I recommend that. Low would mean that instead of negative 19 and then positive 50, it would be something like negative 8 and positive 25, right? It's just like a subdued sensitivity. And then high would be the opposite. It would probably be like negative 30 and plus 65 or 70, something like that. Or you can have it on no demand factor. Recommended is probably fine. For a market like the Smokies that's more or less year-round and more or less like filling all the weekdays as well, right? As opposed to something like a beach market where it's only in summer, or you have like a college town where it's only weekends. That's where I would generally tend to adjust this demand factor sensitivity higher. Or if you're like in the middle of nowhere, you might do it lower. But I think you're fine with the recommended setting. Last minute we went over already. Orphan Day we went over. Day of the week pricing adjustments I don't think you need, because Smokies is, number one, Pricelabs is already dictating that for you. And two, the Smokies are going to book on weekdays anyway. Occupancy-based adjustments we already went over. So custom seasonal profile. Oh, we already did that, sorry. Seasonality here is the same, essentially the same thing as demand factor sensitivity, but it's on a more macro scale, whereas demand factor sensitivity is like based on day to day. Seasonality is like, could be week or month to month. But it's the same type of thing. Like there's another line item in here, like seasonality -1. And then if you come to October, where we're in like, well, many consider our higher season in the Smokies, then it's like seasonality +2, right? So then you probably come to like January and it's going to be, or February, and it's going to be like a lower seasonality -36, right? Because nobody ever travels like that final week of February unless it's like some, oh, that's the final week of January. That's even worse. That's what I consider our true slow season, is like between Martin Luther King Day and President's Day or Valentine's Day, depending on the year, depending on where. So we really only have like a month of off season. We did all that. Minimum weekend pricing would just be if you, It's essentially what it is, a minimum weekend pricing. So you can have a different minimum for your weekdays versus your weekends. Minimum far out pricing would be, I don't do it because generally my weekends aren't hitting the minimum anyway, because it's, you know, a high demand market and there's people traveling here every day.
Okay.
If it's a lower, like, I run pricing on some in Nashville, where sometimes if it's a slow Nashville week, you might not be booked on the weekend, but you know that if you go to your true minimum, you might book with like some trashier guests who end up throwing parties and stuff like that. So in that scenario, you might want to have a higher minimum on your weekend, because maybe you're better off just like not booking instead of booking at your actual minimum, right? So you'd have a different minimum for weekdays versus weekends. That's how I would use that one. I don't think in the Smokies, I don't think it's necessary. Minimum far out pricing would just be like, it's no different than like the smart preset for far out prices, right? It's just like, if your minimum's 200 today and you want it to be 225 6 months from now, and then it'll, you know, change as you get closer. Weekend days is you can change which days Pricelabs considers for your weekend. Like if you have like that weekend minimum, for instance. Demand factor sensitivity, we already went over. Pricing offset you have enabled. So you have a 5% increase on whatever price you're telling Pricelabs to price it at, right? So your minimum or your base here is 250, but what it's really saying is that it's like 260 or 262 or whatever. It's adding 5% to whatever it is. Was there a reason that you had enabled that?
No, I was just trying, you know, what the price is going to be, how the impact is going to be, so I just left it that.
Yeah, there's a number of different ways to do it. You know, you can do that on Guesty if you want. You can do it here, or you can turn it off and just raise your base price 5%.
Okay.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then another side note here. So the price you tell Pricelabs is not always necessarily the price that shows up on the platform, right? Because you could have a channel markup on Guesty. So you can actually add the channel markup in here if you want. So where is it?
Oh, okay.
I'm not seeing it for you.
Maybe because it's a trial version.
Oh, here it is. So markup markdown to simulate final price. So say if you had like, you know, Airbnb's charging the guest the 13% service fee, right? So you want to like raise your price 13% or whatever to offset that. So you would have percentage, and then you could do like 13, and then it's going to add an additional line here. So you would see your black line would be like the price that you're telling Pricelabs, and the blue line would be the price that the Airbnb guest is seeing.
Okay. And then I can take out 5% from there, right? Because
well, so the price that is shown here is the price that this is going to push to Guesty, regardless of what this pricing offset is. I'm not sure that I even understand the purpose of the pricing offset, because whatever's here is going to be here, right? So like if you had a minimum, if you had a minimum of 150, for instance, it's never going to be actually 150. It's going to be 150 plus 5%.
understood.
If I can see if I can find one. Yeah, like
158 or there.
yeah. Right. So I don't really understand the point of the pricing offset. I'm sure it has a point. I just haven't figured it out yet. Because whatever's here is going to get pushed, right? Yeah. So that's the majority of the customizations. There's some more advanced ones that I don't think you're ready for them. I don't mean any offense. I'm sure you could understand them. You seem like a very intelligent person, but save it for your second year.
Yeah.
But cool.
Sure.
Do you have any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And feel free to reach out if you ever need any additional assistance.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Have a good night. All right. I don't think anybody else has submitted. I think that's it. We have 7 people still watching. So, if anybody has any questions, throw them in the chat real quick. And if you don't, I will probably call it because it's been almost 2 hours. Well, I hold another session. I'm not opposed to that at all. Akash, thank you for conducting this session. You're welcome. Asna, I believe your name is. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm not opposed to that. I can definitely do it. Or if if you have any specific questions that you want to know, I know you had messaged me that your PM has the Pricelabs, so I'm not sure that I would necessarily be able to help with that because in addition to not having access to your Pricelabs, they're also not going to listen to me. But I got your listing here. Hang on. So what I can do is I can kind of just look at the calendar and might be able to tell just from the occupancy. Anna, you're welcome. So, Asna, it's once again, it's hard to tell, but it doesn't look unhealthy to me. You're kind of in that window. Most of you guys were kind of in that window, Anna being the exception, of like where your occupancy, you're kind of occupied for the next 3 to 4 weeks until about 5 or 6 weeks, which that's not bad at all. That's kind of like where my listings are at. I have a 3-bedroom pool cabin in North Chalet Village that does very well, and it's only booked like 3 weeks out. It doesn't concern me at all. And then I got a 2-2 in South Chalet Village that's probably booked 5 weeks out, and I think that one's in good shape too. I think you guys are probably doing better than you think you are. But Asna, for your property management company, I'm not really concerned with the occupancy. I'm a little concerned with this 4.78. I mean, reviews are getting tough. I've been getting some 4s too recently, where it's the most annoying thing ever. Like, the guest shows up and then they say nothing, and then they leave a 4-star. But it is what it is. So, Alison, you said, how is the pricing if you choose dates? Great point. $190 a night for a 4-bedroom that sleeps 10. To me, is a little low. Oh, you're in Chalet Village too. South Baden. I manage one right here on North Baden Circle. And I used to manage one right on South Baden. It was right by you. It was 1441. I don't know what your address is. That to me seems a little low. 190 for 3 nights, less than a month from now. Well, sorry, not less than a month from now, but 3 weeks from now. I would expect it to be a little higher for something that sleeps 10. You know, you don't have the best view. You got a lot of trees. But it's not nothing. I mean, you got a nice place. I kind of want to check out this guy's other listings. Just yours. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't know how you found Mitch, or if he actually does have other listings. The 478 concerns me a little, and that could be the reason why the price has been lowered. Let me pick some further out dates. October. Yeah, see, this is more in line with what I would expect for those October dates. $214. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just picked bad dates here. Let's see what this one is. 183. This is very low, 136. Yeah, I would have a. Oh, it's your account. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said that it was with the property management company. What do you say? Our PM uses Pricelabs. Interesting. I'm not sure I understand why it's your listing, but you don't have access to the Pricelabs. Is it like a revenue manager maybe? But it does seem a little low to me. If you want to shoot me a DM, another DM, we could talk about that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's about, from looking at the listing, that's about as much advice as I can give you. So anyways, I think I'm going to call it here because it has now been 2 hours. PM is the co-host. So you had the listing, but you have a co-host. Aha. Here you go. $83 listings. Yeah, yeah, we can talk offline. But yeah, for this, I'm going to call it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. And now I need to figure out how to turn this off because I've never done this before. All right, have a good night.